everyone, this is Coach Vic here. You may be wondering, why am I on the floor and not in my wheelchair? Well, as you all know, we all have that time where we end up on the floor. And as a T7 para, you know that's not a good place to be. But we all find ourselves here every now and then. And the question is, how do we get out of this precarious situation? Now, there are many reasons why we get from the floor to the chair differently. For example, spinal cord injuries. Some of us have lower injuries and it's a lot easier to get from the floor to the chair. We can dip use a piece of furniture and the chair. You can dip using those two. Getting from the floor to the chair is not an easy task. In some videos, when you watch them, it appears to look easy. So the first thing we have to deal with is physical limitation. There are spinal cord injuries, there are sore arms and sore wrists, and then there are people who are older who probably couldn't get from the floor to the chair because of age due to ligaments and joints. But I'm going to talk more about the spinal cord injury. All spinal cord injuries are not created equal. There's a cervical spinal cord injury, there's the thoracic, and then there's the lumbar. And the cervical spinal cord injury is up in the neck area, and most of those those people are considered quads, and they can't use their arms also. And that's going to be more challenging to get from the floor to the chair. And then you have the thoracic level, which is what I am. I'm at the T7 level, which is mid-chest. I have only upper abdominals, so trying to transfer from the floor to chair, it can be quite challenging, but it can be done. And then there's the lumbar, which is lower level, your hip level. That injury tends to have way more trunk control. Although the lumbar injury has limitations, they're not as extreme as the upper level injuries. And then with that, there's also complete injuries and incomplete injuries. Complete injuries, such as myself, T7 complete. Complete means you cannot feel or move from below your level of injury. And incomplete means you can feel or move or both some or spotted areas below your injury. But complete means everything numb or everything is just toast. And the other thing I mentioned, there are people who you may not be paralyzed, but you might have just hand or shoulder or arm injuries. And putting weight on that will not allow you to move. As a paraplegic, many years ago, I developed carpal tunnel. And years before that, I never believed in carpal tunnel. I thought that was a sissy excuse to not to be able to do something. But I did develop it in both hands. And we, as spinal cord injuries, use our hands the way they weren't designed to be used. But anyway, I developed carpal tunnel, and that was 6 weeks of not being able to use my hands. So if I were to fall, there's no way I can get from the floor to the chair. But I did have carpal tunnel surgery, and everything is, my hands are great now. And now we're going to talk about age. And there is no surgery for age. Many years ago, as a younger woman, getting from the floor to the chair was an easy task. I got hurt when I was 23, and one of the biggest goals that I achieved was getting from the floor to the chair. That was the most independent thing I can do and be proud of it, and that was a big accomplishment. I would crawl into the chair, I would dip into the chair, I would use the couch or other apparatuses to help get in the chair, and it was really not that difficult. And then time passed, 30s, it got a little harder, a little more challenging, but it was doable. And then one particular day, in my late 30s, I was pregnant, which was great, and my husband was at work, and I went to transfer to the couch from my chair. And for some reason, I just fell. I missed the couch, I just fell. So I found myself on the floor. And I went to dip to get back in my chair, and I could not do it. Being 5 months pregnant, I could not get myself back in the chair. So I just felt helpless, probably for the first time after over 10 years, it's probably 15 years. For the first time, I felt helpless. Luckily, I had my phone with me, and I called my husband, crying, and said, I can't get into the chair. So he came home from work. And he picked me up, and that was a humbling experience. When I say growing old gracefully, especially as someone with a spinal cord injury, I've learned to let others help me. I've learned to get rid of the pride and say, hey honey, can you come help? Or hey daughter or son, mom needs your help. There's no shame in asking for help. And just because I'm in a wheelchair, I do help my family and take care of my family. And I help them just as they would help me, but just in a different way. So through the years of being paralyzed, like I said, I have found many different ways to get into the chair. Now I've discovered a much easier way to get in the chair, and I'd like to share that with you. So sit back and watch the most effective and the easiest way to get from the floor to the chair. There's no way these arms are gonna lift my body up. There's no way. Hey, Coach Bob, honey dear, can you come give me a hug?
Yep, you got it.
I get a great big hug.
Here we go.
Thank you, Coach Bob.
Love you, baby.
Love you. Now that, my friends, is how you get from the floor to the chair. That's the most effective way. Now, as I was sitting there, there's no way I could have gotten from the floor to the chair. I lost my shoe. I tried to put my arms up and do a dip, and there's no way it would work. I have muscles in my arms, and I'm pretty strong. But those ligaments and those tendons and those joints, there's no way I can lift myself, no matter how hard I try. I want to, I know the technique, I know how it's supposed to be done. There's no way I could have done it. Because this machine is over 50. We all get there. So I hope this video gave you a little bit of insight of what a spinal cord injury is. A spinal cord injury is more than just not being able to walk. Everyday tasks can be difficult, but we're called to overcome, and that's exactly what we'll do. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I'm trying to build this channel. This is Coach Vic, signing off, and I'll talk to you soon.